A few years ago, someone handed me a Max Lucado book called Traveling Light. I don't remember much about the book except for one story. It's the story of this guy. If you play golf, this may look like one of your buddies after a wayward tee shot, but he's actually a professional golfer. His name is V2vandevelde, and he's a Frenchman who almost had it all. And this is his story, which might just be your story. Now, if you follow golf, you may know who he is and why he's standing in a swamp with no shoes or socks on in that picture. But most people don't know the tale, so I want to share it with you. In 1999, the British Open, one of the biggest prizes in all of professional golf, was Van de Velde's for the taking. He had outplayed everyone else in rainy Scotland that week, and after 4 rounds, he had just 1 hole left with a 3-shot lead. That meant he could score a 2 over par and still win. And in professional golf, a double bogey, as they call it, is a gimme most of the time. Now, before I continue the story, let me ask you a question. How often do you need God? Oh, I know we run to Him in the bad times, when things are falling apart, when the marriage is rough, or when the kids are out of control, but what about when you're standing on the 18th tee, 3 shots ahead of everyone else, and you're at the top of your game? Where does God come into the mix then? Well, Van de Velde had been hitting his driver great all week, so even though most players would use an iron, a club with less distance, to play more conservatively, Van de Velde decided to go for it. And he went for it. And he missed. Oh, his shot landed in the fairway all right, but it was the wrong fairway. But that's okay. He's got plenty of shots left, right? His second shot, well, he could have hit it short back over to his fairway and gone from there, but he decided he could hit over the hills, not even able to see the hole. He missed again. He hit the grandstand, in fact, sending spectators scrambling, and the ball actually landed about 30 yards from the green, but in the marsh. Now at this point you're thinking, okay, I know what you're getting at. We need to quit being so prideful in our own strength and trying to do things all on our own and in our own way. Well, that is part of the story, but I don't think you can appreciate the full scope of the lesson here without hearing the rest of his story. Van de Velde's next shot from the deep grass is where the story goes from a nice little anecdote to something bordering on unreal. It lands in the water, and as you saw earlier, this is where de Velde calmly sits down on the grass in front of the spectators, rolls up his pants, takes off his shoes and socks, and trudges out to think about trying to somehow hit the ball out of the deep water, instead of taking the traditional 1-stroke penalty and dropping a new, safe, dry ball on the ground. You know, the problem with pride is it makes us deaf and blind. We can't see things the way they really are, and we can't hear sound advice. We just bulldoze our way through, determined to make things happen our way. We'll show them, just like Van de Velde. Well, he thought better of the water and took the drop. Then he hit into another bunker, and finally made a couple of putts to force a 3-way tie and a playoff. When he made his 7th shot, just to force the tie, he pumped his fist in the air and screamed loudly as if he had just accomplished something grand. And isn't that how pride works? We work and work and work to prove ourselves, and then we celebrate everything that we lost in the first place. By the way, he lost the playoff. So what about you? Have you ever pulled out a driver when all you needed was a 5-iron? All you had to do was listen, but you had to open your big mouth. All you needed to do was be patient, but you had to take control. All you needed was to have faith, but you decided to fix it yourself. I don't need advice. Whack. I can handle this myself. Clang. I don't need faith, thank you. Plop. I can do whatever I want. Hook. Van de Velde's caddy was later quoted as saying, "Me and him, we want too much show." Could that describe you when you decide to take control and entrench yourself in pride? Life isn't a series of trophy-winning tiger shots. God's plan is to remind us of what we can't do, so we'll come in faith to Him and see what He can do. It's a life of steady growth and faith, from one situation to another, where we simply get to choose. So the next time you choose like Van de Velde did, the next time you want too much show and find yourself off course and in the mud, just remember to simply turn around, go back to where you got off course, and return to Him. Thanks to Max Lucado for the book, by the way. See you next time.